We're recording.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Monday Morning Magic with Lila and John.
Hey, folks. Good
And
morning
continue
out there. How you
body
doing?
theme. So bonkers. Continuing the body theme.
Yes.
We were talking about bringing our bodies on our dates with us, the
Yeah.
body and dating.
Yeah.
And
So
John's going to get us started as usual.
okay. I knew she's gonna be there. Ba-doom. Okay. So body and dating. Um, I was just noticing, and it's kind of funny, at 58, I'm noticing that I'm kind of a handsome guy. And no, real talk. I just realized that I started noticing, I started looking at myself. I guess what really intrigued two things happened. Now, my sister laughing at me, y'all, so don't pay attention to her. So anyway, I went home. I was in Chicago. You guys know I was going last week. I told you guys I'm in Chicago. And I went back and I looked at some pictures. And I was just like, oh my God, who was that guy? I realized that I did not see or know my body back then. It was like no, it was almost like there was an imposter because when I went back and looked, I said, "Oh my God, how many years did I live my life through my eyes of seeing a person that wasn't really that person?"
I'm glad you're catching up finally. We'll
And
start there.
what couldn't I receive? There was a lady at my job, Rosemary Owens. The sister always paid compliments to me, and she would say, "Oh my God, John, your lips," and I was just like, and then somebody else we know started talking about your lips, and I was just like, oh, and I never looked at it as an attribute, because I could not see. No, y'all, I couldn't see that, and it affected my dating and how I
Okay,
showed up.
let's go back to why I keeled over. John said, I realize that I'm kind of a handsome guy. So he's getting there, y'all. He's not there
Yeah,
yet. But how many months ago did I give you the homework of looking in the mirror and
yeah,
like seeing
yeah,
what's there?
yeah, yeah.
Because y'all may not know this, but women be throwing themselves at my friend John,
Well,
despite the fact that he's married and sometimes his wife be nearby.
yeah,
And people just be flinging themselves at him.
but
I
so,
don't
but I
think that's
always,
because you're not attractive.
but I realized being and getting talking about the dating part. When you go on a date, there is a friend of mine that I know that he doesn't see himself. I saw him like everybody would want him, and he's tall. Like for me, you're 5'3", you said. I'm 5'7" on a good day. Okay, so I'm not a very tall guy,
5'7" on a
and
tall day.
uh, and I used to look at that as a deficit
Have
because
you seen your face?
I used to use that as a deficit because so go back and look at all the guys that I know that you spoke about. How tall are they? No, how tall are they?
My kid was like, "Did you call me?" No. I'm yelling at my friend.
Yeah, that deep
Um,
voice. I was like, who is that?
that is the 15-year-old who lives in my house.
Oh, he's just like I'm the Temptations.
Oh, it smells great out there. There are cooking things I cannot eat. Um, 5'9",
Yes.
6 feet. Like I had a thing for men 6 feet and taller for a
But
while.
so go with me with this. So the
John
most
Ashford. I
so
would have thrown my
wait.
panties at
Wait,
you.
we
Five
are
seven and
crazy.
all.
Check
Listen,
this
I
out.
don't like short men as a general rule.
Most women don't.
However, that doesn't matter.
I would say that
You are an energy that you don't recognize that you be.
I receive that and I thank you for that. But the other part of it is that when you talk about dating,
I don't care how tall you are, people are going to lick your lips.
you stupid. But okay. So here's the piece about it. When people go dating, When we start talking about this, I'm always saying, what type of person are you dating? So, because sometimes, people. I'm gonna try to find this in my book while we're talking. Sometimes people, they have a setup for people in high school. I remember the type of dudes that women liked were, they don't want them once they return 30, because they realize
Oh,
they're overboard.
yeah. The jocks who don't want anything but, oh my God, the places that my high school friends lost their virginities.
Uh-huh.
I was like, you did what, where, with who? In
Yeah.
the back of a what? While who is watching? You found
Yeah.
out later that they were watching and he's still alive? And I live in the
Yeah.
suburbs. I live in the fancy suburbs. I don't live in the inner city. Like,
I can't remember it. I'm gonna check, but it for me, I think that a lot of times when it comes to date, and I can't get this out. So I'm finally in good communion with my body. I'm not 100. I'm not where I want to be 100%, but I'm like, me and my body is like, we cool now. I don't, when I get out of the shower, I don't look at it like, ah. I used to do that, which was disrespectful for it. I was just like,
but do you look at your lips and go, sorry. Carry
but
on.
what I realized is that I look like a lot like my mom and my dad, and I have two attractive parents,
Oh,
even in their 80s and stuff. I was like, and I was sitting looking at my mom, and I was like, my mom will be 80 this year, and even with her possibility, mental possibility, I call it, she actually looks splendid. I was looking at, and that's what I said. I went back and I looked at some pictures, like their old wedding pictures and stuff when I was in the house, and I was like, oh my God, my dad was quite debonair, if you call it. And my mom was like us hot, And I was just like, oh, well, they produced me and my brother, so that makes some sense. But the main thing about what I was talking about, your body and dating, though, is that I think that a lot of people aren't in unity or communion with their body. So especially when you're going out, you watch people like, makeup is cool and you have to be, beauty is beauty. But what's the package about? What is the package about? That's the thing that I have a question about. I mean,
is it package? I don't know that it's necessarily the package because listen, this is going to sound terrible and I'm going to say it on the internet anyway. I really don't give a crazy amount of thought to what I put on when I walk out of the house.
Well, you with me, sister.
I just so happen to luckily always look well when I leave. I look pretty great today.
But let me ask you this, but do you dress your body? Do you dress your body on the yumminess that it desires to feel?
I never thought about it that way, but the answer is yes.
Yeah. And
so like, here's what happens. I have always, for whatever reason, had this like magnetic pull for men. They're just like, hey. And I'm like, really? No. I have had conversations with men as a tween where I've had to be like, listen, I'm jailbait. My mom is watching me walk to school. Like, drive on, bro.
Right.
So I would walk out of the house in my pajamas, which in the 90s they were actually pajamas, but they were in the style of like like men's boxers, and a button-down shirt, like a button-down short sleeve shirt. Like, these are my pajamas.
Right.
I would roll out of bed and bounce down the stairs to the corner store, which was right underneath my apartment, and pick up some chips and go back upstairs and get hit on somehow. Like, in my pajamas with like, I just woke up all over my face.
Yeah.
And I think that somehow gave me the confidence to just walk around the world with whatever the fuck I want to wear on.
But are you aware, like you called me out like for my shit, but are you aware of the energy that you be? See, you have an energy that and this is the thing about it.
Yes,
we've always been this energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just don't recognize that energy.
Yeah, I'm still not in full grasp of it, and I don't wield it well yet, but I am
Mhm.
aware that it exists.
Yeah, because a lot of times I think that that's the piece. Like when we talk about, like you're talking about dating the same person. We had a conversation about that, dating the
Mhm.
same person over and over again. Well, the biggest piece for me is that where aren't we paying attention or asking questions about ourselves? When
Right.
we date, how much of us do we give up to appease or to try to attract or be with somebody else? Or you go all this bullshit about they eyes like this, they like, especially for certain communities. Well, you know, he light, so the baby gonna be light. That type of bullshit. Instead of like, what are you creating with that person? How many people get in relationships and they go out with somebody and it's just like, if you didn't put sex in the
I was like, man,
calculation,
do we
if
get
sex wasn't part of the
there's
conversation,
like a pressure in my
if
There
head.
is a
sex was
child needing to be parents. Give me a moment.
okay, yes. So I'll finish talking to you guys. So if you were not trying to fit a certain prototype in dating, or if you didn't have a cultural background, what would you choose? Is the question I always ask people. What would you choose? Because how many of the dating that we do when we're younger, depend on what was accepted by peers. So when you start dating somebody, and especially if you don't have a good communion with yourself, then who's fucking really showing up in this date?
Your opposite sex parent or the parent that you had the most drama with. I
Say
mean,
more about that.
I can't remember. Getting the Love You Want by Gay Hendricks.
Hmm.
I read that book ages ago. And he talked about just like that very thing. Like you grow up and marry your opposite sex parent. That's why people are like, oh, I married a guy that was just like my dad. Ha ha ha. I was 25 and realized I married my mom.
Hmm.
I don't have daddy issues. I have mommy issues. And every
Yeah,
problem I had with my first husband was a problem I had with my mother. You don't
yeah,
pay attention to me. You don't see me. You're neglectful. All of these other things. That's usually why people date person after person because they're
yeah.
not paying attention to like what they're really creating and attracting in the relationship.
Hmm.
My mom, for instance, my father cheated on her, my brother's father cheated on her. So what she did was started dating married men,
Hmm.
which solved the problem temporarily
Yeah,
of being cheated on,
yeah.
but it didn't stop the pattern. It didn't create anything new. It
Hmm.
just funneled that energy into something else. You're still not a priority. You still don't have a partner. Like all of these things. My mom never looked at those things. She never
Yeah,
looked at like what about me says lie to me and cheat on me.
yeah,
She just said men ain't shit.
yeah. And how do you set that up? What energy are you being to attract that? Like I hear people all the time talk about God, and there's no God's gonna send me a man. You think God's sitting upstairs, worried about who you sleeping with or who he's gonna take you out for lunch or brunch or dinner? You tripping. I think a lot of
God
people,
might send you a man. God might send you men. But who you gonna choose?
yeah, yeah. And that's the piece about it. People don't really, and the other piece is that what do you have to offer? That's the other thing. A lot of times people say, so when I listen to
Mm,
people, I'm like, what are you offering? And why are you attracting this kind of person? What are you offering? So what do you share? This kind of sounds kind of weird, but sexual, but it is too. What are you selling in your shop?
I really want to dig into what are you offering?
Yeah.
Say more
Yeah.
about that.
So like a lot of people want to be like, this my man's gonna have this, my man's gonna have this, my man's gonna have this, my man, he's gonna be making this type of money. Okay. But what you bring into the pot?
Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna have to find this for you later and share
Uh-huh.
it with you, and I might have to dig to find it because I saw it years ago. But it is a quote from Bougie Black Girl's Facebook page. And she says, the next time a man asks you what you're bringing to the table, tell him you are the fucking table. Now, I think I get where you're going and I think I get what you're saying. However, as a giver, as a chronic overgiver, what are you, who is like retired, what are you offering just makes me go. Because we do so fucking much. Everything that y'all bring us, I mean, you can find the worst woman ever, and she will multiply whatever the fuck you bring her. Now, my ex-husband was horrible with money. The reason that we stayed broke was because I kept choosing to bail him out versus taking my financial education and utilizing that to like create more. But in order to do that, I would have had to pull out of the relationship because I would have had to let him flounder and fail. Like stop, like he drove on a suspended license because he was bored. It's not because we didn't have the money. We've had every video game system since Nintendo GameCube. The money was there. He just chose not to spend it on a valid driver's license, right? If I stopped bailing him out of jail and turned those resources towards like investing, blah, 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 all the things, I would have had some money.
Right.
But he would have felt abandoned. And the relationship would have been over. That's what I mean.
But I think we talked a little bit about this before, but that's because this thing that you keep on saying, which I agree with you, it's relationship. Creationship is totally different.
Which is why I said, who are you choosing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who are you choosing is way more important of a question for a woman to ask than what are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, but a lot of times, see, okay.
I love this conversation, by the way. I did not know we were going here, but I love it.
A lot of times, if somebody saw something, they would miss it in the first place because they're not asking questions to make themselves more present. If you have, so here's the piece. When I meet somebody, I want to start reading their energy. Because energy, words will lie. They will, what comes out of somebody's mouth will fuck you up because it could be a huge lie. But the energy that somebody be, you can't fake the funk on that one. If you just start playing with the energy, you're gonna see what you got and who you got and who you with. And I think a lot of times, the standard of, what do you bring to the table is an old term. Yes, I agree with that. What I'm saying is, who are you?
Yeah, so what was coming up as you were saying that is, I do think it's important for women to ask the question of what they're bringing to the table so that they know for themselves how valuable they are.
Exactly. But at the same time, I think the classes I've taught in Savatthi, brothers need to know that because they don't know their value. And what happens when two people come together, they don't know value. They either abuse each other. Yeah, exactly. It's a train wreck about to occur because the issue with it is, once again, if you don't know who you are, you don't know what I say your worth is, and I'm not, when I say this I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about everything. When you put it on the table, who am I? What makes me? Because see, I got this other theory, y'all, that I'm doing this money class. I wish I'd known this shit a long time ago. It ain't what you think. Money ain't what you think. It's who you be and what you be. And a lot of people, and my piece about, I don't have a problem with good things. I really don't. Like you said, I live in a great neighborhood. I've been blessed. I drive a lot. I like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not the sum result of me. And if that's what you're about, that you have, that's, how many people spend money that the designer clothes? I'm dating Gucci. I don't know who the fuck inside, but everything else is Gucci.
I
You know,
feel what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Okay. So let me see if
when it ain't, and here's the other piece, and it ain't about just sex. It ain't the coochie. See, those days of, and that's the thing that people don't want to talk. People want to talk about that. Sex could be bomb as hell. Motherfuckers are dud. Be a female or male.
also a good personality or someone that you are in love with can make some mediocre sex really good.
So what if, and now we go into sex, what if sex didn't have to be mediocre because you were willing to ask questions before you started? That's the thing that I can say that people don't do. Is this going to be easy? Is this going to be fun? Will I want to do this again?
Are they going to be a contribution to me?
That shit. When I first read that bullshit, I was like, and I was like, ooh.
I have been asking like those questions backwards. Am I going to be a contribution to them? Of course I am.
Yeah. See, I think everybody need AD. When they get in a relationship or they start dating, it should be like Burger King. You better get that shit your way. You better get that shit your way. You better. Yeah, I like extra pickles, no mustard. Whatever the fuck you want. I think that's what you got to be in dating. And what happens is that people fake the fun and
settle.
Oh my God. How many times have we settled in your life? I want everybody who's listening to this, don't say it out loud because I don't want you to embarrass your ass. But how many times have you settled? And how many people stay in shit and they settle and there's nothing in it? Nothing.
For the settlers out there, this quote knocked me on my ass, but here you go. When you settle, you get less than what you settled for.
Absolutely. And then what cracked me up? Then somebody want to start screaming the blues later. That's I'm gonna say Elton John. I guess that's why they call it the blues. Shit, it wouldn't be no blues if you asked some questions in the beginning. When you see that person, I mean, it's just common things. If you are interested in having somebody, if you get with somebody and they don't have any gumption to attempt to work, don't come crying to me later on. Oh, you don't want to work. It's different. And I, as African American, I understand that America is not. Some people might not know this. I'm gonna let them know. Black men have a hard time finding jobs, but you could tell that person is going to look for stuff, and that motherfucker eating Cheerios and post toast things. If that's what if he waking up eating at 11 o'clock in that morning, I mean, and here's the piece. And people are like, oh, John, you're being harsh. No, I'm not. Where is this word called EFFORT?
Yeah. And what do you? I didn't say like, what do you want? But like, yeah, just stop trying to pipe cleaner people into who you want them to be.
And here's the other piece. When you say the pipe cleaner thing, this is what got me. When people tell you stuff, know that shit is true. People tell you all the time. How many times people tell you something and you just and then later on you
So I just finished this book.
No, you weren't no victim. You didn't. Your ass got exactly
weren't paying attention.
Exactly.
What you asked me what I did over the weekend. I read this book called Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies. And one of the things that she talked about in the book was her dating experience. And it's so interesting. I am a storyteller, and I had this same experience that Tara Schuster wrote Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies. She talked about how like she made up the people in her life. She made up the dudes that she was dating. Dude would say something and she would interpret it how she wanted to hear it. And Shonda Rhimes talks about the same thing in Year of Yes. She said she had this friend that was just this awful friend. And she put a boundary with this friend. Like, I think she got a raise and her friend asked her if she could borrow some money, and she told her friend no, and her friend went off the rails on her. And so she goes to her friend group and she's like, oh my gosh, Ashley went off the rails on me. And the other two were like, that's like legit how she is. And Shonda realized I've been in a relationship with my story about that person, not with the truth of who that person is.
Absolutely.
And as someone recently retired from that behavior, let me tell you, actually, for anybody who has that tendency, I want to invite you to be brave enough, if you are still in any of those relationships, to start calling yourself on your own bullshit in those relationships and see who the people really are. Because I was having a conversation with my ex, and he said something that I found to be mean. And I wrote it off in my head as like, oh, he's embarrassed about me calling him out. And later on, we moved on in the conversation to a different conversation. He had no idea that I was thinking about stabbing him.
No, you didn't. You did that shit on prime time.
The whole ass truth. I am a violent small person, but all in my head. And so later on in the conversation, I said something about him behaving some kind of way when his feelings are hurt. And he was like, oh, my feelings haven't been hurt since I've met you. And I was like, oh, so you're just an asshole. And he was like, excuse me, what? Well, an hour ago, when I called you on this thing, you said this thing, and I assumed it was because your feelings are hurt, but you're telling me that your feelings were not hurt an hour ago, which means you're just an asshole. And he actually like dialed it back and was like, oh, I don't mean to be that way with you. He didn't see himself in that behavior.
Yeah.
And when I called him on it, he actually did his version of an apology and like dialed it back. But if I had never called him on it, I would have kept getting that behavior out of him and kept making excuses for it. So if you are a storyteller like I am, and you like to make up the characters in your life, I invite you to be brave enough to call yourself on your own bullshit and see what comes out of it.
And that happens only when you know you.
Also that.
And here's another secret to y'all. What if I told you might not ever really find who you are? Because you always are changing. So it's a constant journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
John Ashford, that's annoying.
Just saying.
Another conversation for the future, because you were turning into a pumpkin in 2 minutes and 6 seconds. So tell us what's going on with you in the future.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna have a bars class here in Portland area. Yeah, I'm 90% chance I'm gonna have a bars class next Sunday. We had our second class of How to Be Money workbook, one of the best classes off the chain. Everybody in this group, I said that if I cursed them with the possibility of being multimillionaires after participating in this group. And in a week's time, one person has moved to Florida and started recreating some stuff in her world.
Woo!
So we have some doing that. This next Saturday. I don't think we're taking any more people in the group because I gave people time to get in, but that's what I have.
It's okay. There'll be another How to Become Money workbook with John in the future. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's all I have. What about you? What do you got going on?
I still have a full client load, and I am not taking more clients right now. I'm very focused
right now, y'all. She might, if you really pay her more money, she'll take more clients. If you really twist her arm and made it to sweeten up the deal, make the pot bigger, we can get her.
Okay, so what John is saying is he's trying to get some of my clients fired. That's what he's saying.
Now, what I'm saying is your clients can pay you some more money or get to stepping.
My clients would pay me more money because I adore them.
No,
we adore
y'all.
each other.
This is what I'm saying. See, this is the problem with humanoids. They always downplay their potency. Michael Jordan wouldn't do that shit.
Listen, I had 20 hours in a week for VA work, and that's it. That's the cap. So, and we're at that cap now. If somebody wants to outbid a current client,
bingo.
Talk.
Yes. Well, it's been a great day. I hope you enjoy your presence today in the United States. Hope you guys just enjoy your day off. Have some fun. Do something fun for yourself. And we'll be back here next week, very same time.
Bye, friends.
Peace.